Welcome back to another episode of Briggs and Co., where we are leaving average for Joe. This week, I brought on Meaghan Gipps, a absolutely incredible human being, the kindest soul you will ever get to listen to. But she is also an incredibly talented photographer and videographer, specifically focusing on the dance community in Vancouver, but also the arts and culture, community in the area as well. She started as a dancer herself and then just found absolute love and passion for behind the camera and working with artists to develop these concepts. And it just really took off purely from passion and joy of the art form. So please give a warm welcome to Meaghan Gipps. Tell me about yourself. In fact, let's actually just do a brief introduction for guests that may or may not know Meaghan Gipps. And if you want to just if you were to introduce yourself, I guess, to somebody, what you do. I know it's like so hard for artists and anyone in the like entertainment world or art world because it's like I do so many things. But if you can kind of Cole's note it, that would be fantastic.
Yeah, for sure. I am a videographer and photographer here in Vancouver, BC, and I've been filming and doing photos over 10 years now. I mainly shoot dancers and just everything dance, but I also work with some musicians and some companies from dance conventions, dance camps, pretty much whatever somebody will ask me to shoot. I'll give it a try.
Yeah, great start. And I think I'll just like shiny object my life away. That's normally what I do and ask random questions here and there as they come up, if that's okay. But I think my first one, just right off the bat, is did you start 10 years ago after you went to school for it? Or was this something purely out of interest that you kind of picked up a camera, video cam, and was just like, let's try this out?
So I grew up dancing. Well, I guess I'll start with just video and then how it got into shooting
Yeah.
dance. But after I graduated high school, I actually had like no idea career-wise where I wanted to head into. So I went traveling after high school. I moved to Australia for a year. I just moved there by myself and got a job. I was like waitressing and bartending on boats around the Sydney Harbor. And I worked there for about like 6 months, and then after that I backpacked like up the coast in Australia for another like 5 or 6 months. I mainly did alone, and then I had a couple of friends from home meet me there, and we like rented a van, lived in a van for a couple of weeks, and did the whole hostel life. And while I was there, I had like a little camera. This was 2011, 2012. So it was just, the point and shoot camera. Like the quality was not good at all, but I was just taking some photos and videos on there, like nothing good, but just for fun, for backpacking. And when I got home, I started editing like the videos together. And that was the first kind of time I was inspired to like edit, because to edit to music, it reminded me kind of dancing in this weird way, like piecing the musicality together. And I just kind of got into like video editing in a small scale of just piecing together these moments from traveling. From there, I bought a camera and was like, oh, I should learn how to use this. So I went to shoot some friends, and then I thought maybe I could look into getting into this for a career. So I looked up some courses for schools, and I ended up at BCIT for the Broadcast Television and Video Production program. That was a 2-year program. It was mainly revolved around actually like shooting news style and, live broadcasting, which was neat. I realized pretty quickly though that like news was probably not what I wanted to get to, but what I did love about that was the storytelling aspect, like kind of more documentary style of, sharing stories. We worked with journalists too, broadcast journalists. So to create and share stories through film is what kind of inspired me to, keep going, and I enjoyed it. And then, after university, I actually went to LA for a summer for interning. I interned with a filmmaker and photographer, James Marcus Haney. He's an incredible, incredible filmmaker. And I went to LA for a summer for like an unpaid internship. It was really cool to just jump in, uh, learning from him. However, a lot of it was just, intern life of getting coffees and getting lunch, and just like working on his website. It wasn't necessarily,
Glorified assistant.
yeah, yeah, which I was humbled pretty quick that it was not as exciting every day, but that is also just life. Being an artist, it's not exciting every day.
But like also I think that's like not just artists. I truly do think that like with law or if you're a geologist and you're entering into a new firm or like anything like that, like you enter into a new organization or whatever it is and you kind of start ground, level one and then make your way up. And I think sometimes like you go to university or you go to these post grad things and it's like glorified or Hollywoodized in your head and then it's like never mind.
Totally. And looking back, like I knew nothing. Like there was, so I'm glad I was just kind of observing for the most part, but I did get to go on like some movie sets or like some music video sets, and then as well like a very small part of Mumford and Sons, the band,
What?
their tour.
I
They
am hardcore,
Yeah,
hardcore jealous.
and also especially like 10 years ago, that's when like they were pretty at their peak, I'd say. So
Booming.
yeah, it was really cool. I got to shoot at a festival they put on. It was in Walla Walla, Washington. And they like take over these small towns, and the whole entire town turns into like a music festival basically because they're a really small town. So it brings in
Was this
like,
something that Mumford and Sons put on, or were
yeah.
they?
Yeah, so they put it on and they had a bunch of top artists come in. I'm blanking on Dave Grohl was there. Yeah, so it was really cool, and to shoot that like front of the stage in the photo pit, that gave me, a lot of excitement.
Right.
But then I went, after the internship was done, it was unpaid, and obviously I couldn't afford to stay in LA and I didn't have a visa, so I just went back home to Vancouver.
What? Sorry to pause you. Was that something that you kind of like knew you were staring down? Like this is going to end soon. I don't have a job. I don't have a visa. I am going to go back home. Or were you not even thinking that far ahead?
I think I was young and I was just in the moment of just like, okay, that's done. Okay, go home. I feel like I wish I put some more time into that kind of lane a little bit of like music videos and shooting concerts and stuff. And I did continue to shoot some like concerts and small musicians in Vancouver, but not to that level of the hype from LA that I just came back from. But then I started getting into shooting dance. So, like, I grew up dancing competitively until I graduated high school, and I loved it. I love dancers. I'm constantly in awe in dancers, especially now that like what I've been through and working with so many dancers. I just have so much respect for them. And because I grew up dancing, I had a lot of like friends that still danced. So
Right.
I think I just started reaching out to some of them to film and just film like their classes or just film them like improvising outside. I also worked with Dance Power, like the competition. I worked with GTFX with filming and photographing dance competitions for a season, which
Did you like that sort of still photography moment? I know they were also like videoing the routines as well, but what was your take on like that sort of style of shooting?
I like the photographing more. It was a bit more like exciting and challenging. So, you want to get the shot of them like jumping in the air or whatever. That was in fun. The filming, you're mostly just kind of clicking record and like following a little. So I loved it to watch dance, especially like, super talented. Like going to Alberta, like the talent there I felt the dancers were a little different than Vancouver. So it was cool to kind of see different choreography and everything. But it wasn't pushing the creative envelope, You
Totally.
didn't need much background into getting to filming that. But I loved working with Dance Power, Daryl, and then GTFX. They're both great companies to work for, so that was lovely. But after that, I was inspired to keep shooting dance, so I did.
Hey, I have a question for you. Just
Yeah.
because my brain works in mysterious ways, I'm wondering if you knew that you at the time wanted to do this for a job, you had sort of this entrepreneurial itch, or was it literally just like, I'm super chill, I like this currently, let's see where the road takes me kind of thing? Like, do you know what I mean? Were you like
Hmm.
laid back about it, like easy come, easy go? Or was it like, how can I push the agenda? How can I connect? How can I network? How can I, make things happen?
I definitely did not have like the business entrepreneurial mindset at the time. And I still kind of lack a little bit of that. But I wasn't thinking too far ahead. I was just, oh, this is cool to shoot some dance. And also I wasn't, really charging much for it. A lot of it was just working with others, collaborating,
Passion
creating
driven.
art. Yeah, yeah. And then I was also doing like to make money. I was also just shooting family photos or some like stylized editorial photos that looking back, they're not good. Because nothing on the people, nothing on, the models or whatever. But like looking back, oh, the lighting was awful, like the editing was awful. But that is so a part of the process.
100%. Like, name one person that doesn't look back on their previous initial work and go, "Mm,
I know
that's a head scratcher."
anything over like 6 months is honestly like,
Expired. There's
I can't
expiration
watch it.
dates. Oh,
But
that's
that's okay.
funny.
That's okay. And at the time, like I thought it was fine. I thought it was good, and people kept, messaging to work together. So,
Well, and we are our greatest, like, hardest critics. So, like,
mhm.
it, but that's funny you say that. I'm like thinking about all of my previous art
Yeah,
work.
yeah, like
Anyways,
yeah. I'm sure when people look back at like their old choreography or like something,
ooh,
they.
ooh. Or like when you're splicing audio for a routine.
Mm.
I was thinking about that yesterday
That's so
because
funny.
all of my Apple Music, this is such a sidebar, but like I'm on Spotify now and that's how I listen to my music and how I download my music. And the other day for some reason Spotify wasn't working, so I went to my Apple Music and it was just purely the stuff that I had downloaded. It was all my spliced music from 2015. I, honest to God, had to change the music like every single second song. I was like, this is brutal.
So are you saying like
Anyways,
the editing of the audio track, like for competition or whatever?
yes,
Yeah. Okay. When I would shoot dance competitions, I notice it every time when like the beats don't line up, and I'm like, oh, there's like some audio producer out there like should get into this niche of just editing music for
competition dance
competitions
music, like 100%.
because I think
It's rough.
yeah,
It's rough out there.
it's hard.
Um, okay, anyways, that was great. I love that. So then you started to realize kind of what you were liking, what you weren't so much liking. You were also just kind of playing around with different styles. When you were on your off season, if you will, of dance power and all of that stuff, were you working another job at the time or were you strictly just doing photography?
Pretty much the moment after like interning and dance competition, I've been freelancing. So I haven't had any other like working with dance competitions, it is like 12-hour days, as I'm
Yeah.
sure you know. So there's definitely no other time if you're doing a full season of that, there's like no other time to really have any other jobs. But I never since then, like after I shot dance competitions, I've just been purely freelancing.
Word.
Yeah. I mean, probably should have, waitress on the side a bit to make some
So
more cash.
did you get like okay, so there's like two sides to this because I feel like when you opt for a second job, and there isn't really an answer to it. It really depends on the person and the type of person you are. But like when you do have a second job or a third job even, you are literally taking time away from what you could be doing on the thing that you're trying to focus on. So, and it's not to say that you shouldn't, it's just did you find that there was a fire sort of lit under your arse to like keep on finding the work because you didn't have that sort of second or third job, waitress, whatever you bartend? Or do you feel like it was just because like photography and videography was in such high demand that it just kept constantly coming and because you were starting to get more and more talented with it?
Yeah, I think you're right. I was able to fully focus on on my craft with freelancing and building my own, work. So there was a positive in that. And it did start like a ripple effect because 10 years ago, there wasn't as many videographers and photographers as there
Mm.
are now. Now there is so much more demand for like every business needs photos and videos for social media, et cetera, et cetera. And there's so much many more ways to learn videography and photography and the access to cameras. So there is a lot more. But 10 years ago there wasn't many people, I don't think. I mean, I'm sure there was, but especially in like the dance
Scene.
area. There wasn't like concept videos were very like just kind of coming out, I think. Maybe not 10 years ago, probably before that. But that
You're
kind
right,
of like
for
the
sure.
idea of like filming in dance class or having a videographer at a dance convention 10 years ago, at least in Canada, was pretty unheard of, probably.
Yeah, it was.
So I did kind of get that first wave of we need to get a videographer to get, promo footage for this or
Mm,
photos for this. I was kind of part of that first wave, I think.
totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would say like you almost like paved a lot of the ways for those that are coming in now, which is also why I wanted to bring you on because you truly are like a mogul in at least like our community here in Canada for dancers. It is the work that you do and put out is absolutely incredible. And to see the development over the years, because I've also been on the side of the other side of your camera,
Yeah.
has been outstanding. I would love to take time to chat a little bit about sort of what point did you feel like you could stop calling this like almost a hobby, but more like you felt secure in this was your profession and you were starting to get booked by some, of the, I guess, dream roles that you wanted to book, if that makes sense, if there was any of those.
I think it was over such a long period that I don't think there was any like moment exactly where I was like, I could, make a living out of just freelancing, especially in the dance community. I
Hmm.
think being able to work with Chanel Lacasse and Billy Mustafa, those were two of the people I first started really filming and creating cool concepts on Instagram.
Yeah.
And Emma Stevenson is another one. It was that kind of ripple effect where there wasn't as much stuff like that put out on Instagram. That kind of ripple effect of just playing around outside filming with them is what kind of rippled in more work. My one thing I want to say is my dream has never really been to, win like an Academy Award for director of whatever. I think it's okay to like have these dreams that aren't to be, the biggest and the best and to work on $1 million projects. That stresses me out. I don't like I think that's awesome for those people, but my dream has never been that big in the sense that a lot of people that work in film. I like the smaller stuff. I like telling stories, whether that's documentary style, just sharing on social media. I like working with dance studios. Like working with dance conventions. I love inspiring, like helping inspire like the youth here. So when people think dream job, a lot of times people think, I was on set, with some huge artist or whatever. It's okay not to have those dreams, and I think maybe that's a little maybe is it pessimistic little? I like to say I'm realistic, and also that's okay. I'm okay that I'm not going to be the best in the world and I don't want to be and I don't yeah, that's so my dream some of my dream roles is just like working with dancers at a dance studio or sharing a story. Like I've done some like videos, YouTube videos, sharing stories, people with addiction or their stories with coming out in the LGBTQ plus community. I love doing that. And that is what like lights a fire under me is just like sharing those stories. So even though, maybe like financially or, big awards I don't have, that is okay. I'm happy with, like there's definitely goals and achievements I want in my life with my career, but they're not these big sparkly things.
You know what's funny as you say all of this is I never for once would have thought that there is bigger things that you could do, in the sense that when I think of you, or when I think of Meaghan Gipps, it's sort of like the world is your oyster because of your talent. That it's not that you it's not even the thought that you haven't booked those things. It's more just like that's not even in your like realm, because what you're doing is so unique to you. And I don't even think of those things as better or worse, or a loftier goal or a fancier goal. It's just simply different. And I think that it is so powerful because I do it as well, like thinking that I should have these fancier goals, but I'm sure people don't even know that those fancier goals exist, or that that even is more valuable than what you're currently doing, if that makes sense at all.
A
I
hundred
just think
percent.
it's crazy to me that your thought is there's like shinier things, bigger things out there, but those things didn't even come into my thought when I think of you because of the work that you're doing. It's like you're in this incredible world of your own, creating this incredible content for dancers in the community and artists, and the impact that you're making is just like so huge and so unique to you that other things aren't in that world at all. So it doesn't even come into my mind. I don't know if that makes
Wow, that means so much, especially, when you meet up with like a friend you haven't seen in a while, like especially maybe not in the industry, they're just like, "What are you doing now? Like what's the next thing? What's the big project?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm literally like next week shooting like a high school band recital." And I'm like, "I'm fulfilled."
Yes, and I think that it is so almost like it just unlocks this like ease when you are able to acknowledge that that is exactly where you want to be, what you want to be doing. And I'm not gonna lie, like knowing who I am, because I can only speak for myself, there will always be a part of me that always wants to, dream big or achieve these things, but there's always this bigger part of me that is content with what I'm doing currently, and that doesn't come easily. I think that comes with maturity and comes with time, and comfortability in the risks that you take and the things that you take on in life. I think that you being able to just say simply what you just said, which is I know what I like and I know what I don't want to try and achieve because it overwhelms me. Even like even knowing that is just such a milestone, I think, in a person's life and a person's, career, that I think it's a really actually good message for hopefully a lot of listeners. I know it's one for me that's always a reminder that I need to hear.
Good,
So
yeah.
yeah, thank you for sharing that. With that, I actually would love to chat with you about, speaking of impact on our community, is one of the projects, one of the things that you've taken on, Innovate Film Showcase. Please spend time talking about it because I'm a huge fan. I know so many listeners want to hear about it, how it started, what the heck it's all about. So just take us to the very, very beginning, please, when the even like thought of it happened.
So I think we started it in 2021. That sounds about right. Or 2022, but I think in 2021. But around that time, probably a year before that, I had this kind of idea because I was making all these cool dance concept videos, is what dancers kind of called it in the dance world. Basically, it's usually dance concept videos are basically similar to like a music video, but probably smaller scale and not usually lip syncing and
And
with the
just because
musician.
I'm curious, is there a collaboration that happens with you and the dancer or dancers or artist, or is it a dancer comes to you with a concept and just simply says like, "This is what I want you to do," or is it different every time?
It can be different every time, but I say the majority of the stuff I shoot, especially when it's more like work and less collaboration of just me and a friend playing around. The work stuff is mainly their idea. They come to me with their idea, and I just help them execute it. And typically, the dancer or the choreographer is directing as well. I'll help with what like camera angles or lighting I think works best. But I pretty much always just kind of let the dancer or choreographer or like director, if they're all three of that, for them to take the lead because it's their project. If something is my project, my idea, like my thing, then I would like fully take lead. But because it's usually people coming to me to complete what their video or their work, then I kind of let them lead. But then there's other time where if I'm just shooting a dance or improving, then we are just kind of both leaning into whatever that is. And sometimes it can be, really cool, or sometimes it's just super simple and me just shooting straight on. So yeah, I was shooting a lot of that kind of stuff, and I would always work, the dancer would work really hard, or the group of dancers. And then it's just kind of uploaded, on your phone to a little tiny screen, and people are watching it on Instagram, probably like in the line at a coffee shop. And, people's attention spans on Instagram are so short these days. Yeah. I was like, people are probably, talking to other people or like doing other things while they're watching this, just like how I am. Like I'm, about to go in the elevator, and that's when like a video pops up. So people, I feel like, aren't able to fully get the experience of all this hard work we're putting into these videos. So I had the idea of doing, what inspired me too was the main event, which Ken puts on here in Vancouver with a group of talented, amazing people and dancers and choreographers. It is a showcase of a bunch of dances that are created just for the main event. I think he does about 2 a year. And I had that inspired me to do a version of that where it's dance concept videos instead of live dance performances, where you can submit your work and then you like get accepted. And months later, you get to see, for the main event, it was the live performance, but this would be like a filmed concept video, which ended up being basically just like short films. So I reached out to a couple friends with kind of the idea, and then I went to Joe Tullio, and who ends up being the other co-creator and producer. We went for coffee, and I just said, it'd be really cool if we put some of these videos that we're creating like on a big screen. We just rent it out one night, and whoever wants to put in a video can. I have like so much of this cool video work that I would love to see on a big screen. And he immediately was like, okay, yes, we're doing this, which I think I needed somebody to just be like, let's do it. Because I'm someone who is a procrastinator, especially with second guessing myself and not knowing if I could do these things. But he was, he's so creative, and he always wants to just push forward and make it happen. So we pretty much immediately decided to reach out instead of people submitting for it, because nobody knew what it was yet. I don't know if we had a name at this time for it. We just knew what it could be. So we thought, okay, for this first one, let's just reach out to a few people we look up to, our friends, that would be willing to create a short film, a short video to showcase to this night. I ended up filming like 80% of the films that night, because I felt bad telling people to put hundreds or thousands of dollars into a film that they don't know what this is. It just like, I didn't feel comfortable doing that. So I ended up reaching out to people and then asking if I could film it for them so that it would be like cheaper for them, kind of thing. And then, so I filmed so many that the first year. But then we also had some other creators and filmmakers that jumped on board with other choreographers that created some really awesome films as well. And so that was the Innovate Film Showcase of Volume 1. It was just a theater of 175. We sold it out. It's
This was
small
in
venue.
downtown Van, right?
Yes, this was in downtown Vancouver, and that was our first one. People loved it. I think people loved the idea. I think people loved seeing themselves on the screen. My favorite part about Innovate is the fact that most of the directors of these films, whether small or large, are dancers, most of them. Some of them, they are dancing in it, choreographing in it, directing in it, producing in it, working with the filmmaker on editing it, and all of the above. And I think that just shows, to the world that like the dancers, you guys have so much creative energy and juices flowing that, you can also be behind the camera, not just choreographing, but directing or creating, producing, writing. We are now gearing up for Volume 5, so this will be our 5th year doing it. And yeah, it's grown to bigger theaters. We've sold out the past
5 years.
Yeah,
That's insane.
the past couple shows at, I think it was 675 seats at the Vancouver Playhouse. And it's gotten big. I don't really film for any of the films anymore. I like for all new people some repeat filmmakers and choreographers. but now it's full like submission base. And this year we had a selection committee come on board, and that was Jeff Mortensen and Louise Radsky. And they were incredible. They are such talented human beings and creators. So to have them select the pitches, because they don't submit full films, they submit pitches. So it's kind of like a film festival, but it's only one night. And instead of submitting a final completed film, you submit a pitch of what it can be or what
And
it
is a
will be.
pitch like subject to the person submitting? So it could be verbal, it could be written, or is it like an actual snip of the video of it? What does that look like pitch wise?
It ranges. We've had a couple people where they just have a video of them talking about it. I think that's great, but I also think the visual of, we just have had like PDF format. We've had like Google Slides type thing where you can see inspiration of screenshots from other films or what they think the lighting will look like, or if they're working with a designer for the costume, for the clothes, who this is. We always want to send in your previous work and what dancers are on board. Some people have audio people, lighting people, directors, producers, script supervisors, and then there's other films that it's just one videographer and one choreographer, which is typically what I do. I work on like smaller sets of pretty much it's just me filming and doing lighting and whatever else and editing. But it's cool to kind of support the smaller creators and the bigger creators as Innovate grows.
Wow, that is such a accomplishment and such a blessing for the community to just have more opportunities to showcase their work. Like you said, dancers and the others involved in this is their talent is sort of there's no bounds to it. And I think this is a great opportunity to showcase just how sort of I guess infinite, you know, the talent is. So coming sort of away from innovate, when did you say when volume 5 was?
It'll be this September. We're just nailing down the venue and date, and then we'll be putting out submissions like that we're opening submissions in like a month or two, 2 months. Yeah, yeah.
It's
So
exciting.
you'll
So
people
maybe
usually
what
have the
I'll do,
summer.
I can add info to it below so people can even just check out what it's all about.
Hmm.
And of course, I'll also add, Instagram and all that stuff to make sure that they can see your amazing work, Meaghan. Coming into this like upcoming season and spring and summer, I know dance competitions are coming around. Are you going to be a part of dance competitions? Are you based in Vancouver for the springtime? Like, what does the next upcoming season look like for you?
Mainly kind of the same freelancing of so many different things. I work with some dance studios. I love working with Harbor Dance Center, Mo Brody. She always has me on board with working with ITP, which is a intensive training program in Vancouver. I love working with that company, to work with Mo and all the dancers there. They're all so excited and open to learning and creating, and it's so fun to be able to do that on camera. So I'll be working with ITP a bit there, working with some other dance studios in the Lower Mainland, and I'm also kind of looking around to see potentially getting something as a videographer with more stability, which is different for me.
Yeah.
So I am looking to maybe like apply for some jobs that in Vancouver, part-time or potentially full-time as a videographer in a company. But there's so many pros and cons to going that route. I love the freedom I have as a freelancer. However, the older I get, the less of kind of the grind of like finding new clients, the excitement kind of fades a bit. And I would like to sometimes just show up to work
100%.
and just be able to like turn that off once I
Yeah.
leave work.
And I think there's enough to say, like, even in the value of starting as a freelancer and doing everything that you've done and experience everything that you've done so that now you can, like, even apply it to if you do choose to go, a more permanent job route or sort of like a longer term career route, then it only like accentuates and ameliorates that, I think, in my eyes, anyways.
100%. Yeah. So I kind of keeping my eye out, but then it's hard because I want to, book out the next like couple months with new clients. But then I have this in the back of my head, do I want to look for a job? And then it's going to be hard to get a job if I have, this week here booked and this weekend here booked. So it's kind of like a something I'm trying to figure out a little.
Yeah.
But yeah, I honestly Innovate is on the top priority of getting that all together and organized before we like head out and accepting submissions, etc. But yeah, just shooting a lot of dance, and I do some music videos, like small music videos. I got into shooting some country music singers, which
What?
didn't think I would get into, but so I yeah, I've been working with a couple country music artists, and that might do a couple more things with that. But yeah, nothing
Okay, amazing.
too crazy or big
No,
coming up, but
but I
yeah.
love it. It's right
Hmm.
up your alley.
Hmm.
Also, a little bit of like new things, a
Hmm.
little bit of stability, a little bit
Yeah.
of here and there.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I want to sort of open up the next minute or two for you to, if there is any advice, any sort of suggestions that you would make for anyone that's kind of exploring the route of videography, photography, anything like that, being creative with the camera. Is there anything that you can suggest for somebody that's just starting out? Like, say they have a full time job or they're in school or something and they're just doing this on like weekends or in the evenings. They're like, am I even freaking good at this? Like, is there anything that you could offer as sort of advice for somebody that's in that position?
Yeah, I'd say I used to bring my camera to like every party, every get together. I would just go shoot. I would just if I was going to like I would go to the Pride Parade and I would bring my camera. And so many of those times you learn on the go. You learn event photography by just shooting events, and whether you're being paid to do it,
Mhm.
it's great to just learn as you go with just going to do it for fun. So I would shoot at some parties, and if there's even just things like lighting, like working with a flash on your camera if you're taking photos, like some of that, it sounds super easy to just take photos like with a flash, but there's actually a lot of different things you can learn. And when you're put in different spaces to shoot, say, events, which I shoot events a lot, you really have to work with so many different lighting, different audio setups, different people. So I've gotten so used to now with being on the go and learning on the go, but that took a lot of shooting sometimes, yeah, like for free, or shooting just at events that I wasn't hired to do. I just took my camera and then going through all the photos after, what I liked, what I didn't like. Oh, I should learn how to do this with my camera. I should learn how to do this with lighting. So just keep shooting things that aren't even work related, because I actually learned so much through that. And another thing was, I think people always say like fake it till you make it. And when you're in, I'd say like it's good to have a bit of that of like fake the confidence, because like especially with directing sometimes like I feel pretty awkward telling people like what to do or where to go, but you kind of have to like fake that I'm where I'm supposed to be. But don't fake the technical side. You need to like for cameras and stuff, you need to learn the technical elements, and I have a really hard time concentrating and learning some of those super annoying technical things in a camera. But then I've been on set or I've been shooting an event, and all of a sudden, my memory card doesn't work, or I don't know how to
Mhm.
adjust this new lens, or I don't know, things like that. So don't fake the learning of the technical sides, because I mean, yeah, you'll learn on as you go, but there's times when I accidentally like didn't realize I was formatting a memory card, and then I've lost all the footage and things like that. You really need to be really detailed and learn, and don't take any side routes when it comes to that.
Mhm.
But the other
That's
side of
great.
that is every time I did make a mistake, like one time there was a speck on the lens. And so in the whole dance video, there's like this very clear black mark on the video. And I'm like
No.
devastated. So now I made that mistake. So now every time before a shoot, I double check every part of the lens. There's nothing that will ruin this shot. So it's okay if you make the mistakes, because every mistake I've made, I've learned. I'm like, oh, never gonna do that again. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, 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 yeah,
there's
yeah.
so many
For sure.
mistakes I've made that because I made them, I've never made that mistake again.
In the memory.
Yeah.
No, that is so good. Thank you for sharing. I know that actually there is a few listeners that I can immediately think of that are pursuing photography and videography, even just as sort of like extra income or passion project kind of thing. And getting the chance to speak with you and kind of picking your brain on this side of things is really special, and they'll appreciate it a lot. So thank you. Last but not least, dedicate like 4 minutes of random questions, fire round ish esque. I tend to shiny object and ask more follow up questions, but I'm going to try not to, of course. I always do that with my guests. So if you're ready, I'm just going to ask some random questions.
Okay, love it.
Okay. So if you could schedule sort of like a dinner with anyone, past, present, I guess you could say future, but I don't know how that's possible. Who would it be? Just one dinner with somebody.
Work related?
No, just like you have a night free and it could be famous, not famous, family, friends, dead, alive.
Well, I mean, my first thought is definitely like my granddad and my cousin who have passed away. Like, I miss them so much, and they both, oh, it'd be so good to chat with them. Work wise, though, I'm trying to think of like any directors of like really awesome music videos with working with dancers. I would love to learn about their process of working with a choreographer and working with dancers. That'd be really cool.
Okay, cool.
And then also, there's so many.
That would be the main course, but the appetizer guest would be
Chandler Bing, like obviously Matthew Perry, but like Chandler Bing, the character would be like epic.
okay, sidebar, but noted. Favorite places, either that you've traveled to or a place that's like on your mind that you want to get to.
Okay, Switzerland was like the coolest place I've visited.
I'm
When
so
I was
jealous.
backpacking when I was like 19, so I had no money and I was only there for one night, and everything's so expensive there. But if I ever get a lot of money, I would go there for more than one night, and that would be super dreamy. That's my
Okay,
answer.
great. An ideal Sunday, or like I know Sunday for some freelancers are like that's actually my busiest day, but an ideal sort of in quotes Sunday. What would that look like for you?
I think the older I've gotten, the more I love to be home. Yeah, I live with my partner now, and we love, watching movies together, playing a board game together. And I've gotten to cooking and baking. So let's
Or
say like cook and bake and relax.
okay. Are you a morning person or an evening person?
I'm a day person,
I'm dead. You can catch me between the hours of 12 and 3.
literally. Yeah, morning, not so much, but I've gotten better.
My business hours are.
I've gotten better at mornings, but because I haven't had like a regular 9 to 5 job or like been to school in so long that I'm just not used to like that regular wake up. But I've gotten a little better, and
And that's
I
all you
like
can
my
ask
evenings
for.
too. I do like evenings, but like I'm chilling.
Yeah, for sure. Don't talk to me.
Yeah,
Okay, superpower if you could have one.
probably like just jump into any movie I'm watching. That'd be cool. Yeah. I mean, some of them, maybe not the scary ones.
Jump out of those ones.
Yeah.
The last one that I have, actually no, I have like two more. If you could tell your 18-year-old self sort of just one either sentence, word, whatever, what would it be?
Megan,
Yeah, I know.
she was so excited about didn't know
Dun
that
dun
being
dun.
adulting can really suck. Maybe like drink less.
Don't remember
Yeah.
it.
Drink less. I wish I like cared more about. I always wanted to get out of Langley that I grew up in. I wanted to go travel the world. I wanted to go do everything else. And the older I've gotten, the more that I've loved what's in my like in the four walls or whatever. I've loved my family time more. Sorry, excuse me. So just appreciate, yeah, what you have. Just kind of like, yeah, I used to want all the sparkly things in life. And I've gotten to a place I'm way more mentally happy. And I'm actually really happy with what's here and what's in front of me and what's inside of me. So not to always go look for the bigger and better things because like what I've got, like I'm privileged and I should just be more thankful for what I have because, yeah, I've worked really hard to get to this mental space that I'm at. So I don't know how that's advice.
But
So,
yeah, no,
yeah.
I really actually, that one hit me because I'm like, yeah, noted. Last but not least, if there was one personality trait that you could sort of like magic wand cast on the entire world, what would you gift them all with?
With everyone in the world,
Yeah, what do you wish everyone in the world had a little bit more of?
compassion. I wish people had more compassion. But I mean, I think we are in an artist world mainly, and there's so much compassion and love in this like artist community. I find everyone is really sympathetic and inspiring, and the world I'm in. I know there's dark parts of like the dance industry and the film industry, but I see so much like joy and love in my world of art and friends and the dance community. And I know sometimes when I look on the internet and see like the other parts of like the world and like America and I see all this like scariness, I'm like, oh, like if you had this love and compassion that like these artists have, it'd just be like everyone would be a lot happier.
I love that. Thank you. If there is, I guess, a best way to sort of follow your journey, what would it be? Instagram? And should I put that on the show notes? I'll
Yeah.
put Innovate Film website on show notes as well as Instagram. Is there anything else that listeners should know, should connect with you about, or how they can connect with you?
Yeah, just on Instagram. It's at Gipstagram. You'll have the spelling there, but yeah, come connect.
Okay,
I don't
sounds good.
post as much as I used to, but I want to try doing that more.
Yeah, okay. Megs, thanks so much for taking the time. I hope
Thank
I get
you.
to see your sweet self soon and keep posting, sharing, spreading the love because you're gifted, my friend.
Oh, thank you. And Briggs, this is amazing what you're doing and sharing stories, inspiration of so many artists and creatives. It's awesome. It's awesome.
Thank you so much. Okay, lots of love
Thanks.
to you. Take care.
Bye.
Bye. That's a wrap on another episode of Briggs and Co., where we are leaving average for Joe. I hope you all enjoyed that episode. Hopefully, you pulled some inspiration, motivation, maybe a couple hacks, tools, and tricks along the way. If you liked the episode, please give it a share with friends and family, just out into the universe. I would really appreciate it because that's the only way this show will grow. If you have any questions, comments, or recommendations on guests that I should bring on, please message me at Briggs _ and _ co _ or send me an email admin@briggsandco.ca. So much love to you all. Take care of yourselves. Ciao for now.